Well, we were just talking about saving the planet, but let's start local and save the pine bush. Now, why do we need to save the pine bush, the Pine Barrens? Is this a unique environment?
Yes, the Albany pine bush is a rare ecosystem. Some people say it is the best example of an inland pine barrens community in the world, and it has
In the world?
Oh yeah, our pine bush is very special. It is very, very special. It has species from the Arctic, it has species from the south, it has species that all mix in. There are a lot of birds that use it to migrate, plus of course we have our very own Carner blue butterfly.
Yeah.
And
this is the only place, I think, for the Carner blue, isn't it? Or
well, actually the Carner blue did...
Or do they migrate?
They did, they don't migrate,
Okay.
but they did stretch at one time from the east all the way to the Midwest, but because of habitat destruction, they are missing.
What do they feed on?
So the Carner blue has a very interesting life cycle, and it uses the blue lupin is what the caterpillars
That's why
feed
you
on.
celebrate Lupin Day.
Yes, that's the the Albany Pine Bush Preserve Commission has a lupin fest. Yes. Absolutely. So what Save the Pine Bush does, just so they understand, is
Because
that
they're different. I mean, you're a supportive group. It's like Friends of the Library to the library. You're the Save the Pine Bush.
We're more adversarial
Okay.
because
Oh, good.
Save the Pine.
I love adversary. You know why? Because things happen then.
Well, the only reason there is any pine bush left today is because of Save the Pine Bush's decades of litigation to stop development in the pine bush. And we're all volunteers, and we work through the use of the courts and litigation and then education. But if it hadn't been for us, even the commission wouldn't exist, because
I was not aware of that.
we sued the city of Albany so much in the 1980s, and we won so many cases that the city and the state decided, well, maybe if we create a commission, these people will go away. Well, we didn't, because then we started suing the commission because, we wanted them to do a better job.
Yeah. Well, you need an overseer of some, and sometimes it's the public that's the overseer.
Well, it is every time I go someplace special and I think, did this just happen? Did the government give this to us? And I think about the decades and the thousands of hours of work that volunteers for Save the Pine Bush put in to do the litigation, and I realize it only, the government didn't give us this. We the people fought for it.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to keep doing, is fighting for it.
Doesn't the conservator or conservation?
Well, the Nature Conservancy is an
that's the
organization.
one I'm trying to think of. Yeah,
The Nature Conservancy is a fabulous organization. They buy land.
They
But-
bought land for you, didn't they?
Well, they bought, because we would stop so much development, the Nature Conservancy would go in and negotiate with the developers and purchase the land. And then the state of New York purchases it from them.
Okay,
So the
but
state...
it's a way to stop things.
Well, buying the land is the
Yeah.
ultimate. But we don't, Save the Pine Bush, we're just volunteers. We
Yeah, I
don't
know you are.
have the funds to buy land out
But
there.
you have a great newsletter, because I think I have a copy of it here.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, here's your newsletter. See, right there.
Yes.
And, subscribe to it, or at least find out where you can get it. There might be available. They got some great articles in here. And right on the front page, I mean, this is an event that you had. But you have a dinner coming up where people can perhaps learn more about what you're doing and how they can support you.
Yes, Save the Pine Bush has monthly vegetarian lasagna dinner every third Wednesday of the month. In 2019, we have them all scheduled. This month, we're going to have Ward Stone, who's the former New York State wildlife pathologist.
Yeah. He was an activist. Really.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
and Keith Shue, they're going to talk about the proposed Sheridan Hollow gas-fired plant. One of the things that Save the Pine Bush does at our dinners is we do talk a lot about the pine bush, but climate change may kill the pine bush. So we work a lot on educating people. So when people come to our dinners, we talk about a lot of environmental issues and also social justice issues. And everyone's welcome to come. It's only $12 for adults, $6 for students.
So you do all the cooking?
And I do not do the cooking. We have a fabulous cook. Our original cook, Regina Adams, retired at the age of 89. I don't know why.
She's a friend of mine. Yeah, Regina. Yeah,
I can't imagine. She finally said at 89, okay. And
she's an activist. I mean, she's like at the labor picnics, and she's
everywhere.
With the Chinese, because I met her through the
Yes,
Chinese
the Chinese,
organization.
yes, yes.
And so she's really a wonderful woman. Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah. And
wonderful.
I met her husband before he passed on, and he was a movie buff. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
big
wonderful
time,
man.
Big time, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So Resham was doing the cooking, huh?
Yeah, Resham cooked all the dinners for about almost 40 years.
Yeah. So
And
now
we
somebody
have,
else is doing
now
it.
we have a couple, a young man and a woman come and they cook. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend our next dinner is February 20th, 6 o'clock, 85 Chestnut Street.
Okay, and where's
and
that?
In Albany.
yeah.
And there is parking.
Is it a private home?
No, that's a church,
Oh,
the
church, okay.
Westminster Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
There is a parking lot just to the just before the church, or usually at that time of the day, there's no problem parking around the Empire State Plaza.
Yeah, 'cause nobody's working then.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe,
So-
I don't know. But anyway, I don't think so. So that was going to be on February the 20th, Wednesday,
Yeah.
at 6 p.m. at 85 Chestnut, which is the Westminster Church. And it's $12, $6 for students, $2 for kids. I mean, that's nothing for a dinner, you know, which I'm sure is going to be fabulous.
Oh, it's quite delicious.
But it's vegetarian, right?
It's
But
all
not vegan.
vegetarian. It's all vegetarian. We also have vegan and gluten-free selections.
Okay.
And also, if people,
Because lasagna, I can't imagine being totally vegan because you got to have cheese in there.
well, our chefs make their own homemade cheese out of cashew nuts. It's really pretty good. It's
Really?
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh
People
my
should come.
God, out of
People should come.
I think so.
But if you can't get to the dinner and you really want to hear the speakers, because we have excellent speakers every month, we just put up our first podcast, and it's called Dinner with Save the Pine Bush on
Oh,
iTunes, so people
And
can
that's on
search
the
for our dinner.
internet.
That's on the internet. Dinner with Save the Pine Bush, iTunes.
Yeah, I'm just going to say who's coming up next week. I'll let Brendan know that I'm going to announce that, and then we're going to come back and finish our conversation. Albany Civic Players is coming up. They're doing 4,000 miles. What a great play that is. I've seen that. Confucius Center is coming on, and we're going to be talking about Chinese New Year and what's coming up there. Frog Alley Brewery is coming up. They just opened up recently, or they're opening up. The Octavo Singers will be here to talk about their event coming up. And then we have a person who's a business strategist coming on to talk about business. And then 1,000 Moms will be here with Dave, and he's the author of Healing the Brain, Stress, Trauma, and the LGBTQ Youth. Phew, did I get that all out? I think I did. So anyway.
So the one thing I did want to mention
Sure, we
is
got
that
time.
that one of the big challenges we have right now is that Crossgates Mall wants to build
heard that.
222 apartment units in the Pine Bush. This is land that the commission thinks ought to be fully protected, and we think it should be fully protected.
Amen.
And so this will probably be an argument, discussion, an argument, a battle, and anyone who wants to
Start
work
making
with
your
us.
signs.
But we need people to come out to public hearings. We need people to talk about how we people in the Capital District, we need to protect this beautiful, rare ecosystem.
We can't build it again.
No.
I mean,
no.
that's the thing you have to realize, that once it's gone, it's gone.
It's totally gone, yes.
It's like the icebergs. Once they melt, they're gone. You're
Yeah.
not going to rebuild them. You know, it's like, you know, there's no way to do that. We need to protect our environment, and the idea of protecting the pine bushes is beginning, but we need to continuously think in terms of protecting our planet. Right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We absolutely-
Thank you
you.
for everything you do.
Oh.
And I will try and get to that dinner. It kind of depends on what my schedule's like, but always got something going on. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to see you again. I think we might have met before. If not, I'm glad to have met you. So anyways, we're very happy to have you here, and do support the Pine Bush.